Welcome back, guys. Kibla Ahmed Art here with G-Man from Singapore, but in London. And with special guests on the Brothers Geek Out podcast on a midweek special. We have Luke Bug, the Geek of Steel. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing very well. Look at it, he's representing for me. I'm loving it, boys. You got symbols of hope right there in true form. I'm very well honoured to be here. I love what you do. I know you've been reaching milestones even during the pandemic. You hit the episode 100, so well done. That's a nice big number. Consistency is key, as they say. So I'm proud of you, and honoured to be here today.
Oh no, it's exciting times. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and as soon as you reached out, because Gilman had some great questions last week's podcast.
Yes.
It was like, I mean, what did he do? How did he freak out? How did he keep his nerves in? And I was like, you know what? I think the best person is going to let you know, and then you got in contact. So we were like, perfect. It worked out perfectly, dude. Definitely.
No, I was honoured to sort of see that pop up in my mentions, and like, I love answering questions. I like asking questions as well, but I'm always prepared when doing a podcast. I've got like lots of different questions to ask whatever guest I'm speaking to. So when the questions get asked to me, it's like, oh, this is a little bit more adrenaline pumping. This is good. This is keeping me on my toes.
Yeah, no, definitely, without a doubt. I mean, your last interview with Gal Gadot, Gilman was like, go on, Gilman. I'm going to let him take over.
It's inspiring, bro. Like, not just that, but everything that you do in it. So I think we've mentioned you loads of times when we're talking, just the work that you're doing. I'm like, shit, that's inspiring, bro. Like, you got this passion, and I've seen like both of you two as well, just kind of using your passion together. And somehow you guys, man, that's one of my questions too. How the hell did you lot meet? Like, through this passion, obviously, but how did that even come up? And you guys got so much going on.
Many years ago, in a land before time. I'm not sure who followed who first on Instagram, but it was Instagram. Most of my stuff is there at the Geek of Steel. Little plug.
Yeah, go for
always
it.
Working. But it was
right there.
many a year ago when we were able to go to Comic-Cons and go outside of our own street. It was London Film and Comic-Con, I think. Oh, was it 2017 or 16?
2017 to be safe.
Getting old here, man. Memory's not as good as it used to be. But yes, we agreed to meet up, you know. But kids, listen, if you are going to meet strangers online, always check them out and arrive with a friend to let people know where you are.
That's right.
Safety first.
Safety first.
But yeah, you were there with your wifey at the time, wasn't it?
That's right. So I recently got married. I think. Yeah, so it was Instagram. I think we're talking about a good couple of years back. I can't remember the exact, but the first time we actually met face to face was at London Film and Comic Con. It was when Tom Welling and the Smallville cast were there.
Yeah, it was Tom Welling, John Schneider was there. It was a good old time. Kiblar got me full geeking out mode. I was like, I'm in the queue. Help me like not pass out or say something bad. But yeah, it was a good year. And from then, it's followed Kiblar for his art and obviously the stuff that he geeks out about, his passion, and it's sort of intertwined that every now and again, if I was, again, back when we could go to like screenings and events and premieres, if I needed a wingman, if I needed a Jimmy Olsen per se, I'd be like,
Jimmy Olsen.
I would let Kiblar know very last minute and say, dude, I know you've already had a lot of time off work, but if I can't say anything just yet, but if you could get to London for 9 a.m. this Friday, be there with a camera, suited and booted, it'd be there. So we've had some very fun experiences together and hopefully more when we are able to in the future.
Of course.
That's awesome, man. Because that stuff is like a dream, man. When we were kids, like what you guys are doing, I'm not even joking, and we'll get into more who you didn't speak to. It's like a dream when we were kids, like going to premieres, meeting certain individuals and interviewing certain people and whatnot. I love it, man. I love following you guys and just seeing you guys on your journey. Almost a little bit jealous that I should be there too, but still, anyway, I'm just saying, like, I'm waiting for my invite, bro. But no, I've been on a couple with you guys, which has been good. I remember that Shazam one, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was a fun old time. That was a fun day.
What got you into comics? What or who got you into comic books?
Now,
this whole geeky culture that we're in, like, what was the beginning like?
I was a late bloomer, as it were. Comics weren't always there in my younger days. I did, however, I was quite a slow reader in school. And one day went to the school library in my lunch break, you know, where all the fun kids went. I wasn't big on football. I wasn't big on rugby, so books were my only other option. And there was a copy of Lord of the Rings in graphic novel format, and that was there with The Hobbit. And I was like, okay, I've heard people talk about this book, this story. I wanted to get into it and fell in love with that particular graphic novel, and then started reading more. But it wasn't until when Smallville first aired many, many years ago, in, fun fact, 2001. It's its 20-year anniversary this year, and I've got some ideas to somehow create a reunion online. I'm not sure how yet, but when the time comes, Jimmy, I will need some assistance. Just letting you know now. All right, it's good, lad. Because I woke up on, I think it was a Sunday morning, and Smallville was on the TV, and I was like, okay, it was the pilot episode. So I was recognizing characters and storylines, because even though back then I wasn't anything like the Geek of Steel, I was just Luke Bugg. I was like, oh, this is a Superman story. I recognize these characters because, you know, Superman is as recognizable as the Coca-Cola sign. So I was like, Smallville, I know that. Lois Lane, Lana Lang. But I love that show, and I got hooked in fast. And this was way before any type of internet was decent in the UK. So we had to wait for those Sunday mornings on E4 and Channel 4. And when that season ended, I stayed away from spoilers online. And I was like, oh, I've got to wait a whole year now to find out what's happening with Lex. So I thought, well, let's find out more about Lex. Let's find out more about Clark Kent and Smallville. And I reached out to some people, and I was like, I want to start reading comics. What have you got for me? And just got suggestions upon suggestions of what I should be reading. And that's when the comic side took over my life. But it will always go back to Smallville, and I will always hold on to Smallville, just like they say on the show. And funnily enough, as this came in the post, I think just 2 days ago, this wasn't a planned show and tell, but this weird little trading card came through the post because I got it on eBay for an absolute steal. But it might not show up on the camera, but we'll have a look. It's John Schneider, who was an absolute gent of a man, but there's a little piece of his fabric as well.
That's
of that screen-worn shirt. Doesn't smell like barn. I said just rubbing it on the cheeks. Yeah, it doesn't smell like Smallville or a stable at all. But fun little piece, because I've been trying to collect some more Smallville merch this year. Trying, he says. Yeah, it's just stuff happens to fall in my basket if I see it on eBay. But Smallville this year is going to be, as I said, it's the reason I got into blogging really. And so it's to honour that Smallville anniversary. I'm trying to do a lot of Smallville podcasts and content this year, so that should be fun. But yes, Smallville is where it started. Comics is where it led on to, and yeah, then became the Geek of Steel somehow. Is
that the same relation to Superman? I mean, like, obviously you like all other superheroes, and I'm assuming you're a Marvel fan as well.
I love anything that is escapism. Yeah. Anything that I can enjoy is about heroes. I always obviously like to mention the fact that if we didn't have Superman, we wouldn't have anything else when it comes to superheroes. But I enjoy escapism. So as soon as I was able to get Disney Plus in the UK, I was like, awesome. I've got all these great Marvel films at my fingertips now. Now I'm just hoping that HBO Max comes to the UK in the near future, because there's so much content on there. But I've got a bookshelf behind me filled with DVDs and Blu-rays and a few VHS. But any superhero movie that I can get lost in, or Superman's story, I'm all over that. I get hooked into stories really quick. But always goes back to Superman, but I love everything else. But the Geek of Steel, how that came to be, yeah, it's obviously a bit of a play on words with the Man of Steel. When I opened an Instagram account when I first got an iPhone, I had no idea that other people on Instagram could see your photographs. I thought it was some sort of photo library, because, you know, this is me. I'm high tech. I love stuff, but I had no idea other people could see my stuff. And my name back then was LS Bug. So my full name is Luke Spencer Bug. But with Instagram, you don't have lowercase letters. So the I looks just like the L. So if somebody was looking for me, they would look for IS Bug, which is an account, I believe, on Instagram that still exists. because I made it because I was getting fed up of people saying, I can't find you on Instagram. What's your name?
Oh,
So I made ISBug, and it's, oh my Lord, it's still active. Instagram, sort it out. This is an old account. And there's one picture on there. This is not the Instagrammer you were looking for. You should have typed LSBug. So that's still on there right now. But I think it was the beginning of 2017 or 2018 when I wanted to take this, whatever I thought it could be at the time, more seriously. I saw other people had their own websites and blogs, and I was inspired by that. I was like, this is something that I want to get into, because the Instagram account started getting some good numbers. I found out that when I used hashtags, people were seeing my stuff, and I was like, who's this person liking a post, and who's this person, and found like-minded people all over the world. And I got enjoyment and drive out of posting positivity online and pictures of my collection and reviews and edits and thoughts. And yeah, I think it was the beginning of 2017 that I really started taking it seriously. So I got a .com, I got some gear, I got a new laptop, and I was sort of ready to take the next step, whatever that may be. But it's been a long process, but it's been rewarding. I sort of I wouldn't change it for the world, that's for sure.
No, it's awesome. It's awesome you say 2017 because that's possibly the year that you guys met. So
yeah,
definitely.
It was around that time. Yeah,
was,
and I was like,
it was. I remember Luke pushing like your work ethics, and what you were pushing online was just, it's motivating and inspirational, and you built a really cool community where it was like, rah, this is cool, and like it's working, and the way he works, and it bounced straight back to me when it came to me doing my work, when it came to doing artwork, when it came to doing photography or videography. I was like, oh, his work is so consistent. And as you said at the beginning of the show, consistency is so important in what we do. But putting it with a positive note to what you did, being a guiding light in that part of it, was just, that's something I've taken always from it. Because
thank you. That means a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around long enough now, as you guys probably have, to see that dark side of the internet that will never go away.
No,
because it's too easy to sometimes go towards the darkness, then look for the light.
That's right.
But I try to stay positive as much as I can, because I feel it helps with whatever you're going through. If you're having a rough day or whatever, then positivity does help. It's never good to say to someone, oh, you look sad, try smiling. That doesn't go down well.
Of course not.
Don't do that. Try to be there for someone, or if just, again, use your platform to share some sort of positivity, and just what you want to get back from the internet, put into it.
Exactly.
And that's, yeah, and I've only sworn, I think, a handful of times online. I do swear. I'm only human after all, as the song goes. But I don't like to do it online, because that is not my way. I want to be creative with my thoughts or my theories or anything like that. So I want to be positive. I want to represent Superman in the light that he should be shown in.
Perfect.
I don't like it when I see people in a Superman shirt, like throwing rubbish on the floor, or not sitting up for a pregnant lady on the bus or the train or whatever. But I think, oh, what would Superman do? That WWSD. So I, as well as being a blogger, I like to, not a Superman fan as such. That's quite a heavy title, because there's still lots that I'm learning about my hero as such. So I'm never going to declare myself as a Superman fan, but as a Superman ambassador, because it sounds more posh.
No.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. Why Superman? I mean, it sounds like, obviously, you were just explaining there's a lot behind Superman, ultimately being a good human being from all aspects of angles and stuff. But what was it about him specifically compared to anyone else, be it Batman, Captain America, whoever's, well, Batman made quite dark, so maybe he's not the one.
Maybe, but I mean, yeah. I often get that question of, oh, you like Superman? Why don't you like Batman? He's so much cooler. I was like, well, yes, he's very cool. He's one of those, like, if you looked up cool in the dictionary, it's going to either be a picture of Batman or Bruce Wayne, just like sitting back and like on the desk or sitting behind the Batmobile, just like riding dirty. But I chose Superman because I feel that Superman found me in a way in a time when I needed him in my life. Again, it all started with Smallville, but back then, you know, he didn't even really wear the suit in Smallville. It was just Clark Kent, a young Clark Kent going through a lot of deep stuff. I mean, yes, he was finding out that he could see through walls and he's got super strength, but he was also a young man in high school going through stuff, dealing with the death not only of his biological father, but his adoptive father. Spoiler alert, if you're new to Smallville, but it's your fault. It's been here since 2001. Get on board.
Yep.
And, you know, and then getting more into the character and the content that's been brought out over the years. So the Superman radio shows, the movies, the comics, the graphic novels. He's faced a lot over the years. And there's some points in every comic story that one could relate with, whether it be the pressures of work or fighting your own inner demons and villains. There's something there that you can relate to the character. And the thing that always resounded with me with Superman and Clark Kent was the fact that he lost his father at a young age, and so did I. So I was 15 when my father passed away, and Superman has changed a few times over the years, but it's always been that sort of thing that I could deal with or relate to that hero sort of. So seeing how he reacted and took on the reins of not only, you know, looking after the household and looking after his mum, but it was that he chose good. He could have gone to some very dark places, and that's, you know, sometimes how a villain's origin story can begin, so to speak. I wanted to try and make the most out of my life through dark experiences. Those are the ones that truly make us learn who we are. And I think it's always hard now when I watch Superman films or a TV show. It's like with that Batman origin story. You know, the first scene you're going to see is his mum and dad getting shot in an alley. So you know where you are with that. But it's always, you know, I mean, some people didn't like the John Kent death in Man of Steel, but it still happened. It wasn't, you know, it was still powerful. It still hit me hard.
Right.
But that was one of those aspects of the Superman mythos that I could always connect to, and to see how he dealt with it was the way that I could deal with life choices as well.
Awesome, man. It's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always great that we, like, when you have specific character that can relate to. Like, mine was a Punisher. I'm not going to go too deep into it because it gets dark. When people ask me my favorite character it's always been the Punisher. And that's because I've always, when I was young, I don't agree with his ways now. Just
No,
quit.
okay.
When I was young, I was like, man, we need a Punisher on the streets because I can't take this, whatever's going on out there. But no, but it's great that you can relate to him from a human level. Do you know what I mean? Because I like these comic book, and this is my theory and my opinion. These comic books these days, it's not just a fantasy world or whatnot. They're all, I love them because there's all stories of hope. Like, no matter what they go through, the stories, and Superman, obviously, that symbol of hope. But all characters, they all go through a symbol of hope, and I love stories of hope. We were just talking about Cobra Kai on our podcast, and then when they like, have you seen it? I don't want to spoil it.
I'm like, I've got 5 episodes left.
Okay. I won't say nothing. But
Thank you very much, because I've been dodging them spoilers like I'm in the bloody dojo. I'm like,
there's so many, but there's story, like anything to do with hope. I love it, and comic books is all about that sort of stuff. So it's great to kind of go through that. What about you? Like, one thing I love to ask people, right, and that's from yourself, doing the work that you're doing now, interviewing certain people. I saw you like moderating like big organized sort of events and whatnot. I like to ask like martial artists before they go into fight with us, how do you get nervous, and then how do you deal with that nerves? Because, you know, I've always had to find my own techniques with nerves and whatnot, but I love to hear other people's ways of how they dealt with that stuff.
It was always tricky. I mean, at first, when I got the .com, when I got the email address, I was like, right, let's just send emails out to everybody. Because at that time, I wasn't afraid of being told no, because I've been told no many times before. It's something that you should get over with, because out of 20 emails you're going to get sent out, you're going to get a maybe from 1 or 2. And for me, at the beginning, yes, obviously there were nerves involved. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about interviewing this person or going to see that person. But it got exciting after that. And it's truly when I feel sort of the Geek of Steel became like a persona as such. Like Superman's got Clark, Batman's got Bruce. I was like, okay, let the Geek of Steel worry about comfort zones. Let him step out and let Luke Bug be his like wingman, as it were, his PA, his personal assistant. He can answer the emails, and the Geek of Steel can go to the events. But now I've created this monster, as it were, where they're combined together. And for me, it's always been preparation. Preparation has always been key. If I've got an interview someone or I've got an event where I've got to talk to someone, I'll have 5 questions. That's what time I've got. I would go to that event with like 30 questions, or just do that research. And that information gives me confidence, and I'm more prepared then as well. But yeah, obviously there have been some fortunate times in my life where I've got to interview people through contacts and being trusted as a brand to work coincide with companies like DC Comics and Warner Brothers and Marvel. See, I'm open to all offers, Disney.
Yes.
But it's not going to an event and being the person that says, I'm off today to interview somebody really important, so come follow my page. 9 times out of 10, there's a million NDAs you've got to sign saying that you can't reveal where you're going, what time you will be there, what you will be doing. And I'm like, but I need to tell Kibler where I'm going to be. So one of the big ones for that was when it was Aquaman to begin with, wasn't it, with you, Kibs? It was the Aquaman premiere, but also a before screening party where we got to meet James Wan. We saw some of the costumes. We had some very tasty food, and I was very well behaved and stayed away from the like custom cocktail bar. I was like, I'm not touching that, even though I need something to calm my nerves. I'm going to be well behaved. But it was a great night, and sort of just to be thrust in front of James Wan was like, what do you say? And you just have a chat. He's a creator. Obviously, he's a lot more creative than I am when it comes to things, but they are there to work. They're there to promote a movie and talk about their passions. And I feel that if you are talking to someone that is famous and there, is to ask them not personal questions as such, but ask them things that they like to talk about, because almost, that's broken the ice to have a chat. And when someone says they love Superman or they love Aquaman or they love comics, you've already got something you can geek out about, and that makes things so much not easier, because it's still sometimes challenging, because you never know what they're going to say. It could be a yes answer or a no answer, or I'm not going to answer that question. I've never had one of those yet. I don't want to have them because I don't do well with confrontation. But it's moments like that when, if you enjoy it and you get a lot out of it, then that will only bring more to the moment. Like speaking with Zachary Levi. So I got to Kibbs was my Jimmy for that day. We had fun. I won you a cute little teddy bear. I was like,
It's Alara's favorite.
yeah, but you still want to take it back. I saw that look on your face when I gave you that teddy bear. You're like, this is mine.
That's when I met you as well for the first
Yeah,
time.
that's right.
It was that event, and that was a crazy, crazy day. So I blagged some time off work. This isn't a full-time job just now, but I've got some very nice co-workers who will cover my shifts for me when I say I've got to go to London. I can't tell you anything about it, but I will tomorrow. You will be the first person that gets the exclusive. But yeah, we went to they created Philadelphia in London. So it was like the carnival, the fun fair from the movie. And they had all sorts of games and events going on. And we were there. We met some other bloggers. So Tasmin was there, and Paul from DC World was there. And it was great. It's always great when we got together. We could hang out. We could talk about the film and do stuff. But then they said, okay, we're going off now. We're all going to go to the cinema. We're going to meet Zachary first of all. We're going to see Mark Strong. We're going to have a chat with everyone and have a few drinks. So if you could all go now, that would be great. And like I was left behind, and so was Kibler. And they were like, Luke, why aren't you coming back with us? We're going to go and have some drinks. I was like, can't tell you. I'm sorry. I was like, I don't want to be that sort of douchey guy that says, I'm going to be interviewing Zachary in a moment. But I respect the NDA. So I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I'll be there. I'll meet you there in a minute. And then that's where I got to interview Zachary on the red carpet, which was my first major face-to-face interview with what I class as an A-lister. And I was more excited than anything. I had Kibla. He was like pumping me up, saying that you've got this. He was doing a fantastic job. And I was like, yeah, I've got this. Let's do this. Slap me. Get me ready. I'm ready. But then the cameras are rolling and I had 5 minutes with him that felt like an eternity. And the guy was just such a charming and positive personality that it was hard not to just feel at ease when I was talking with him. And as I said, preparation is key. So I had about 25 questions ready to go, and I don't think I used any of them. We just sort of we talked about the movie. We talked about just how much I loved it, and then we talked about positivity, and he said some fantastic quotes about negativity online, which is something that I said we all deal with. And it wasn't necessarily using the term trolls because that's too negative. It was all about treating people the way you want to be treated. And he said some fantastic words that I've shared far too many times for Motivation Mondays and Wisdom whatever Wednesdays. But it was a great interview. But again, it was another one of those moments where I got the bug for interviewing, and I wanted to ask him more questions. And hopefully one day I'll be able to sit down and ask him some more.
That's awesome, man. That's amazing.
That's
That is amazing. One of the ones that I saw, or two of them, right? Kevin Smith is when I geeked out. I didn't even see him, but I was like, oh my God, my brother met. In our world, he's a legend, right?
He is.
The other one was with Gal Gadot, and I know that was Zoom and whatnot. But I was saying to Kibbs, and this is where it came up last week, but I would have freaked out. I would have been like, like, so how, like, meeting like Kevin Smith and Gal Gadot and whatnot, how did that preparation come up? Like, was you nervous for that one? Any of those ones? Would you,
again,
like...
I respect the amount of fame that Kevin Smith has and his work ethic. He never stops. Dude nearly died.
Yeah.
Death could not stop Kevin Smith from doing what he loves. And I prepared for that day a lot. I know a lot of my followers are big Kevin Smith fans. One of them, bless him, he's like Kevin Smith clone. He had the long black hair, always wearing caps back to front, long black overcoat. And I was like, if I could tell anyone right now, I could tell him. Because not to boast about it, but the fact that he would be upset that I didn't tell him that I was meeting Kevin Smith. But yeah, that was another Kibla cameraman day. He went to work that day, but I was excited. I was a little bit nervous because it's Kevin Smith. Who wouldn't be? But we met up, we prepped. And yeah, we were in the room with him for about half an hour, 40 minutes. We had a great time talking about stuff that he could talk about, talking about other stuff that he couldn't talk about, talking a lot about He-Man, and I'm pumped for that show when it hopefully comes out this year.
Yeah.
But again, I was prepared for that. I had questions, I had things planned that I wanted to talk about. Did my research. I know he loves Supergirl, that he's directed Supergirl. So I went with a Supergirl pin on my jacket and a crypto pin. And I was like, I know that he's got these pins because he's bought them from my buddy. So that's a way that we could break the ice. And that was Mike, who now does On the Shelf, where you were on, which was a fantastic collection video. But the first thing Kevin Smith was like, oh, I've got that pin. And I was like, oh, you do you? Let's talk. And that was the ice broken. That was that.
Right.
After that, it's just not a celebrity, not a geek god or an icon, but somebody that likes to geek over the stuff that makes them happy. And in that moment, you're not a blogger or an interviewer or a journalist. You're two humans talking about the stuff that you love, like we are doing right now. That's right. And that's when nerves go to the back of the head. And I sort of, through a few different techniques, I know when to switch it off and switch it on. I mean, I've worked in customer service for more years than I've wanted to. So I can get a good read of someone pretty quickly. I can tell if we're going to have a fun conversation or I'm going to rush this experience as quickly as I can to get you gone, and I can go on to the next one, in the words of Jay-Z. But it was... when I can read the room or read the person as such, that's when I know I can have some fun. But also in the meantime, you've got to think about time constraints and being aware of the camera, being aware of what your face looks like and how you're sitting. And it's something that doesn't come overnight. As I said, it takes time, as you guys know. It's about the hustle more than anything. You've got to work at it and be consistent. And that part of the internet where the comments come in. Sometimes the negative side of social platforms is the comments and the questions and the not the demands for information, but how did you do this? How can I do this? Give me your contacts, give me email addresses, all the things that I can't do and I won't do. Not the fact that it wasn't done for me. I started off, it's that passion of wanting to do it for myself and being that sole responsibility. But I've shared podcasts in the past and videos and articles on my story of how I became, I'd like to say, a journalist now. I say I was a fan, blogger, then a journalist. Never, ever, ever social media influencer, because that's just a dirty word. I don't like that word at all.
Very dirty, bro.
Content creator, I'm fine with that. But I mean, technically, everybody with an Instagram account or Twitter account, they're creating content. So that's why this year I'm sort of wanting to go more towards that journalist title, and hopefully I can get there. But yeah,
that's awesome. The Zoom stuff like that, did that change the dynamics when you done that one for the Wonder Woman one? How did that feel? Was it a different kind of preparation?
It was, again, for that one, because I won't lie, huge crush on Gal. From the moment I saw her in the flesh, Batman v Superman premiere, I went to the red carpet event. I was in the pen. I went there first thing in the morning. This was a day, pretty much, if it goes back to origin stories, when the Geek of Steel took over.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the event, there was a guy going around hyping the crowd up, and I was there in full-on Superman merch because I knew Henry Cavill was going to be there. There was a guy in the stands saying, "I'm going to ask people some questions, and if you get some good answers, we'll give you some free swag." And I was like, "This isn't for me. I don't want to be on a microphone. I'm more than happy to just stand here nice and patiently and wait for Henry Cavill to go past." But I thought, I'm here now. I might as well. And I got on the mic, said some words. I talked about why in a fight Superman would win versus Batman. Got a few boos. That's fine. I'm all right with that. But I won some free swag. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I got some bits and bobs. But then when the stars came out, the event almost didn't happen because there was a terror alert in London that day. And I thought, I'm going to be sent home empty-handed and just cry on the train. But it didn't. It went ahead, but later than expected. So I'd been on my feet since 5 o'clock waiting to see any glimpse of these stars. And they came out, they went down the red carpet. I managed to get a hat signed that is literally in the minute in an airtight container so it doesn't get dusted or damaged. But I got to meet, I interacted with Ben Affleck, Jesse Eisenberg, and Henry Cavill. Amy Adams signed my Lois Lane journal that I just won moments before. And Henry Cavill was there and he signed my hat.
Awesome. And
my first ever interview, because I'm positive that I will interview him again one day, was that when he was signing my hat, I said, I put my phone down because I was I've got sausage fingers. It's a technical term. I was trying to take selfies and talk at the same time, and it just wasn't happening. And then I thought, I'm just going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to put my phone away and just see what happens. And he signed my hat. I think, because there's video proof of this, that I said, thank you very much for all that you've done for Superman. And then he came back and shook my hand and said, thank you. And I was like, oh my God. I've spoken with Superman and Henry Cavill at the same time. But in that moment, when I put the phone down, I was like, I can't tell anybody that this happened because they won't believe me. But at that very moment, the event was being live streamed across YouTube. And on the way home, I was on the train, I was elated. My legs were just jelly because I'd been standing on them all day long, looking at my hat, thinking, I've got his autograph. Then I got a few messages saying, Luke, you wearing a red hoodie? And I was like, okay, this is weird. I'm on a train. You're in America. Why are you asking me about that? But at the very moment when Henry walked past me and took my hat and we had that brief interaction, the cameras went to me and Henry. So I had absolute proof that moment wasn't just, a fever dream of sorts. But on the train home, I was like, this was a fantastic moment. I'm happy. I'm glad that I shared this moment with followers at the time. And I wanted more of it. And that's when I wanted to get more into being a person that is passionate about superheroes and Superman and going to events and reporting from events. Never boasting or being that guy that's Can't tell you where I'm going today, but you'll find out soon. Stay tuned. Smash that like button, all that business. That's not me. I can't do that. But the Geek of Steel definitely has made me more confident. It's made me more patient. It's made me want to learn more about editing and talking to people and interviews. But at that Batman v Superman event, Gal Gadot was late, but she ran down the red carpet in this flowing red dress. And I didn't have the energy in me to say, Gal, please sign my hat. But I was just dumbfounded. My jaw was on the floor. And when I found out that I would be interviewing her, I was like, okay, Geek of Steel, where are you? Take over my mind and body. I need you now more than ever. And it was a long old day. It was a few days before Warner Brothers UK were very nice to me and said, could you make it to London for a screening of the film? And I was like, yes. Again, comfort zones went out the window. I did have work. I managed to blag that off, very luckily. I would have probably taken a sick day if I had, because they said, the reason we need you to see the film now is because tonight there's going to be an event with other journalists from around the world who will be getting some screen time with Gal and Patty Jenkins. And I was like, sign me up. I've already got questions ready. And yeah, it was a great experience. Not only seeing the film in a cinema screen, at the beginning of the year, my boss recommended to me, she said, Luke, you're always going to London on the train. It's got to be expensive. Why don't you get a Network Rail card? So I paid out for it. I was like, yeah, great idea, boss. Next week, lockdown happened. So I've used that ticket twice this year. Once at the beginning of the year, again, Kibla. We went to see the Birds of Prey premiere. We got to meet the stars. We saw Jim Lee. You freaked out. It was adorable. It was a fantastic moment. The man's a god. But I saw it. We were talking. I was talking with Jimmy Palmiotti about the film, and I was like, we just started talking over Twitter, and that's when he decided to come on the podcast. But I turned around. I was just like, there was just like this dust-shaped Kiblar. Like it's like in the cartoons. He just bolted. It's like, Jim Lee, Luke, Jim Lee. I was like, okay, I was like, Jimmy, I'll be back. I'm just gonna make sure that Kiblar doesn't attack Jim Lee. But it was a great day. Another one of those moments where we got to do unbelievable things. And it's something that, I never take those things for granted. And the day always seems to go so quickly. But going home and realizing what you got up to is fun about it. But seeing Gal at that BVS event and then them saying, would you be able to be part of this Zoom event? I was like, yes. So after I got up at 5 o'clock to go to London, this event was obviously on American time. So it didn't happen until I think gone midnight on that same day. So I was running on coffee and fumes all day long after seeing that very exciting movie. I signed into the Zoom chat. I was an hour ready. I was I was early there. I was ready. I was just sitting patiently in the room. And the young lady that was organising the event, she was an absolute sweetheart. She was like, Luke, you're a little bit early. Nobody's here yet. And I was like, okay. She was like, no, seriously, you're too early. You've got to come back. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went off. I had got some air. I had lots of different questions. It was one question each, so one to Patty and one to Gal. And when I went back into the Zoom session, other people were there, so we all got together. But my nervousness and excitedness paid off because we were all going to talk sort of in the same order that you join the Zoom room. So I was there first, technically. So I said Luke will be going first. And then obviously we went through all the different journalists. There was people there from Japan, South America, because Wonder Woman is huge in Brazil and South America. She's a real cult icon. Yeah. And yeah, it went on a little bit late. So they turned up a little bit late, but they were very excited. They looked outstanding, the pair of them. Gal had red lipstick on, and I was like, okay, the Geek of Steel is present. I can feel him, but Luke is there it's Gal Gadot. You're about to speak with Wonder Woman, Luke. Don't mess this up. I was like, okay. Geek of Steel just went back into the zone, and yeah, we had a little chat, asked her questions. I was very passionate about the fact that I wanted to come across not as a journalist, but a passionate fan with a hint of journalism professionalism. That's a tongue twister. And it went well. My goal was to make either Patty laugh or Gal Gadot laugh. And I made them. Well, I made Patty laugh, which was nice, and she really would not stop talking about the film. It was great. She gave some great quotes about just how passionate she is about filmmaking, which is why I'm so excited about her future with the Star Wars franchise. That is going to be insane. But then, yeah, I got to speak. I think what I said to Gal, we were allowed to transcribe it, but not share the audio, which is fair enough. And I was curious. This is something that's not happened to me before, and I wanted to know why. So I did ask. Best thing you can ever do is ask.
That's right.
And it's about in the past, there's been quite a few famous interviews that have just been audio transcribed, and people have taken the audio and made different sentences out of the things that they said. So again, dark side of the internet. But my time with Gal came, and I said something along the lines of, I have to compose myself now because I feel that I'm talking with the real life Wonder Woman. And she giggled, and I was like, right, that's it. I've broken the ice. Now I can ask her question. And she gave fantastic quotes about her life now as a Wonder Woman character. She's gone down in history as playing Wonder Woman. But after a very long, exciting day, yes, I was nervous. Yes, I was passionate about it. But I knew that I could do it because I talk with people every day. And they're there to do a job. I'm there to do a job. I've found a lot of inspirational people over the years that I follow, Kibla, and you guys yourself included. You share your passions online. You do it because you want to do it. You're not just trying to hit numbers. You're not just trying to stay consistent because people expect it. You're doing it because you want to do it. And so in that moment, I was that guy that was very honored to be one of very few people to watch the film, but to also speak with the talent behind it as well. So it was a good day for the Geek of Steel, that one, and one that I'm still smiling about. And I don't feel bad now about buying that Network Rail card and only using it twice last year. Well, 4 times, there and back twice. That's fine.
All pays. Awesome, man. Well, I don't know how good you are for time. I just you touched on it right at the end on inspiration and whatnot, because this is all self-taught. You just spoke about it was all based on passion and hustle, right? You self-taught how to become this journalist that you're trying to achieve now, and that's amazing as well. And especially with the internet and people you can follow, you can get that inspiration to self-taught teachers. So, who are some people apart from the Brothers Geek Out podcast? What other podcasts you listen to? Who else inspires you to hustle and do what you got to do and learn what you're learning?
Well, talking about time, I can talk about passions all night long, so you might fall asleep before I finish talking. But I'm here for as long as you need me to be. But anybody that chooses to share positivity online about the things that make them happy, to talk about the things that give them enjoyment, and they share that with other people, they're the people that I want to be like. Yes, there are massive names when it comes to superhero geek culture, especially on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, that yes, they get to interview the major talent. They talk about their passions. It is a business for them. I won't lie. I would love if the Geek of Steel became a job that I could concentrate on all my time on. I work pretty long hours throughout the week, but I get enjoyment on my days off when I can sit down and prepare content that I'm proud to share. So it's the people that are putting the hustle in. I know, Kibla, you're always either creating a video or you're creating more artwork.
Right.
It's the moments that I get enjoyment out of Instagram the most is when I see what made them smile that day, and the fact that they would share a picture from last year. This is what I drew or photographed last year. This is what I've done this year. And I can see where I've grown as an artist, because there are so many artists on Instagram. And it's just, I've done it a few times now. I know Kibla's joined in with it. I started this Geeky August and Geeky February photo challenges, where we do a photo challenge. I give you a word for each day of the month, and you take a picture of something or you share something out of your collection, because that is how I got started on Instagram. There were photo challenges but I converted it and made it all about Superman. So it got to a bit of a stretch with the imagination, but it challenged me to make something new, which is why I still do that Geeky Photo Challenge every year. and I can see people's collections. It's the internet, as I said, can be dark. There are people out there that want to absolutely bring everyone down to their level.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not about that. I've only had really a few interactions with people that have made Instagram not fun, but they're not paying for my content. They're not paying. There's a door there, yeah. That's for you if you don't like it. But then to the extent now where, yes, my numbers are increasing. So yes, I am reaching a bigger audience. With bigger audiences, bigger negativity. So I've learned this year that the block button is there for a reason. Yeah. Some people you can try to turn them around. You can try to hold a conversation up with them. But what I've had most recently is people not in the comments or in my mentions on Twitter direct message me. Now, I've thought about deleting that option on Instagram because you can, but the good outweighs the bad, because I've had some fantastic conversations with people that have reached out to me or asked me a question about Superman or asked for advice about blogging, which I will always be happy to answer.
That's right.
But there was a guy a few weeks back who really just wanted to tell me how much he didn't like Wonder Woman. And I was like, that's fine. We can talk about that.
Yeah.
I've always said that the most important person that reviews a movie is yourself, because you're the one that's taken time out of day to watch it. But he gave me, like, I didn't know you could write this many words in an instant message, but pages and pages and pages of what he thought about the movie. And I was like, oh, okay. I know the film comes out next week. How did you see it? Oh, I've not seen it yet. I've read what other people have said. I'm like, what are you wasting my time for, dude? That's just the most pointless thing ever. And so, yes, I've learned the fact that I would never want to change someone's opinion. I never want to change anybody, because I've learned over the years you can't really do that. But I give everyone a chance, which is the best way to be. And I've met some fantastic friends like Kibler and yourself when we went out there. That Shazam event was insane.
Same.
But what I like about that fact is seeing people enjoy themselves and be happy in that moment. When we went to see Shazam, I'd already seen it a few days earlier. So I knew at the exact moment in the film when I wanted to watch the audience. I didn't want to watch the screen. And it was the end when, yes, we know now it wasn't Henry Cavill that came out, but it was Superman. And I was like, oh, it's coming. I was like trying not to scream at the top of my lungs, but I turned around to look at you guys and I was like, keep watching, keep watching. And you both freaked out the way that I did. And that film at that time, the place was just filled with cheers and emotion. And that's bottled that feeling up. And that is the best tonic you can ever take. That's why I love making happy content and seeing people like my content, and why it is you're all stuck with me, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. But yes.
I'm happy with that. Definitely happy with that at all. Man, that was emotional. You've gone through some good memories, man, and like pushing positivity on such a level where it seeped through to us, dude.
That's what I love. See, I've got 2 of these books. This is my Daily Planet journal. Now, I started writing this. This was the first one when I had neat handwriting. Whenever I did a big event or I was very lucky to go somewhere or interview someone, my handwriting is really neat. I'm impressed. I would spend the next day talking about it to myself and writing it down, seeing how I've grown and where I could improve, because I'm always about improving myself and the content that I can do. And this has got good stories in there. It's got bad stories as well. You've got to announce the times when you didn't go well or it didn't go to plan. You may remember a few years ago, I went to the Justice League event experience, they called it, which was in London. So they had lots of different rooms that recreated scenes from the movie.
That's right.
A few days after that, an event was supposed to happen, and I wrote about it in my book before it happened. And that's something that I don't do now, because I feel that I jinxed that moment, because I was going to go to a screening and get the chance to interview some of the stars from Justice League, including Mr. Henry Cavill. That event didn't happen for some reason, and I was so sad that it didn't. But it fueled me. I learned from it. I learned not to put all my eggs in one basket, as it were, but still go at it with, that level of professionalism that I always want to increase. But I know, as it were, where I've come from the experiences that I've grown from. My very first event was the Art of Lego, which was a fantastic DC event many years ago. I got a free ticket, and to me that was like, wow, don't have to pay to go in. This is insane. And from that moment onwards, it's all about making content, making contacts, being trusted with somebody else's brand, which is the most important thing. And not giving up. And that's it.
I love the hustle, man. I love the hustle. I love the inspiration. I mean, listen, you're inspiring to me. I love the way you inspire my brother and you guys work together. I mean, I'm seeing my brother from a different angle as well now, because following his passion got him to where he is today. And you guys working together from a third person perspective. I'm loving it, man. That's why I was like, let me just get to know this guy a bit more. And we always kind of discuss you on our podcast and whatnot, and then the passion you have. And this was a great opportunity for me to get to know you a little bit, understand your hustle, where you came from, where this whole Superman Geek Steel came from and stuff. So
it's been a long time coming, but I know your hustle and your work ethic as well. Now, the next event, whatever that may be, whether it be a screening or something, or an event where I need, a Jimmy of some sort. I know you both like martial arts. Here's the scenario. Yeah, we get a room. We put you both in there. Yeah, yes. I'll be at the back like a combination of Mr. Miyagi and everyone else involved in the Karate Kid, and you can just go at it. We'll film it. It'll get fantastic numbers, and we'll see who comes to the next event with me.
Brilliant. Well, I'm gonna lose there, so.
Well, I don't know yet.
I live in Singapore, so by default, Kibla wins.
That's it. A beautiful part of the world. I went there many years ago. I travelled around Malaysia for a while. Very hot, very sticky, fantastic food, but spent the last week in Singapore and fell in love with the place. Beautiful part of the world for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm currently stuck here due to the situation. Singapore is not allowing anyone from the UK, but hopefully I should get back to my life there. Technically, I was supposed to fly out today. My flight is today, so it's been pushed till February or something. But at least, you know what? It's crazy how things work out. I was supposed to be flying out today, but got an opportunity to chat to you, and we could organize this. So things work out as you.
That's
short stories. Things just work out in funny ways.
The universe.
They certainly do. But this was an honour, a long time coming.
Of course.
And I'm always happy to come back on and have a chat with you two, because this was
definitely.
It's what I like about being guests on podcasts. And if you're listening, reach out to me. Oh, come on. I don't have to do any work. I'm not worried about the thing being recorded. I'm not worried about it mucking up. I've just got to answer questions to the best of my ability, which sometimes can be a bit of a struggle, but I'm more than happy to sit back and talk about passions all night long. So thank you so much for having me on. It was an absolute pleasure.
It was our pleasure, man. Definitely. Was excited about this the whole day. When I woke up this morning, I was like, we need to get this set up. Gilman was like, chill. You'll be fine. And I'm getting nervous. He's my brother from another mother. What am I getting nervous for?
People was asking me to prepare questions, because I've never done that. I don't do that sort of stuff. No. I was like, you know what? I'll have questions, but I just want to talk to you. Let's have a conversation. And you're easy to talk to. So the questions I had them in my head, but they flowed out. I hope they flowed out easy. But I was like, I just want to talk to the dude. I don't want to be like, question one. What was that? That's why I was nervous.
What was question number one? What was your first question, and what was your final question? Did you have any real ones you wanted to dig the knife in and just get some room? Always got a list, look. Always got a list.
No. You actually asked them already, and I kind of asked them.
I think you did all of them.
Yeah, I did. My first question I put down was, your first experience with comic books. Who inspired you? What was it? And Smallville and whatnot. And the last one was, which one of the events made you most nervous, or you had to prep for more, which you spoke about at the end as well. So the questions, even though I had them, and even though you were talking through your experiences, I kind of felt like because of who you are and that you made it easy to talk to, they just flowed out. Like they didn't really. It wasn't like what's the next question. It was like let the questions just flow. So
and that's what happens. That's when with an interview, it's give and take, and so and you've proved now that you're good at thinking of questions, but not just thinking about the questions. It's how you deliver them. It's got a flow in a conversation. It's not like, what's your favorite color? Why? Why is it not green? Might it be blue? And was it ever red? It's got to be. It's eye contact. It's continuation. It's again, the more you do it, the more fun and the easier it gets. And when you can push a question. When you can maybe get a bit more out of that person by saying, oh, why didn't you like that, and why would you have done it differently? So it's there's been a few times in some interviews where I've really wanted to sort of ask difficult questions, but I know to read the room, and not only that, to know my time limitations and what could happen if they said no or they didn't like the question. Not many times that happens. If I will save those hard-hitting questions for when Mr. Henry Cavill is a guest on the podcast of Steel. But
we've got to work on that, dude. We've got to get that happening.
I've got a wall in front of me that you can't see because it is absolute mess and catastrophe. I've got rules about podcasts of what I can and what I can't do.
Yeah.
I've got sort of remembering to keep the microphone on. I've turned it off once mid-podcast. Awful. But I tried to record on different platforms, so I've got 2 different copies. But I've got one of my many pieces. I need to get it updated because it hasn't got a beard on it. But I use these to write my questions on. And I've got one on my wall saying, next week on the podcast of Steel, Mr. Henry Cavill will be joining me. Now, I said that with this book, I wouldn't write down the things that I don't think are going to happen because they might not happen, but I'm into manifestation. And that is one of the big things that I want, and not only drive positivity, but write down the goals that you want to achieve because they can do that for you, including this bizarre little thing. I'm rambling now, but in there is lots of little pieces of origami.
Yes, I saw it recently.
Yeah, so where's the box? Here's the box. So there was a thing in Japan, Japanese culture, that if you make 1,000 paper cranes, you get a wish. Now, I thought that would take me all bloody year because, again, sausage fingers. I ordered the wrong size paper from Amazon, so they're really quite small. But the word is called Asen Bazaru, and so I've made 120 so far.
Oh, nice.
It's been unbelievably relaxing. It's something I thought I could never do, so I thought I'd do it. And what I will do when this podcast goes live, I will listen back to it and make some paper cranes. It's something to keep my hands busy, teaches you patience, which I need. But apparently once you make 1,000 paper cranes, you get granted a wish. Now, I've seen Wonder Woman 84, so I know how important wish making can be if you do it right.
Yes.
But I think it's more about you get the wish of fulfillment and patience and, self-gratification, as it were.
Deeper meaning to it. There's a lining, man. It's making sure that yourself internally are, at some sort of peace and happiness. And
I can't do yoga. I can't do kung fu. I've seen what you boys get up to. I've seen those high kick photos. I can't be doing that, man. Origami, that's where I'm at. That's my level of technique and fitness.
That's another form of your hustle, man. To make 1,000 pieces of origami. Listen, I can't do that. Maybe I'll make one and then I'll give up. But that's another form of your hustle and your visualization as well as your hard work that you put in. It's gonna happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
I feel like you got all aspects covered, not just be like, yeah, it's gonna happen, and you just sit there thinking about it and you're looking at the screen. It's gonna happen. You got your hustle, man, and that's what's gonna make it happen as well, because you got to line them all up together. So, man, just another form of your hustle, man. 1,000. I'll be looking forward to that, and then I'll know when. You know what? I don't even know. I don't even need to know when you made the 1,000. I'm gonna know when Henry Cavill is on your podcast. he got to that 1,000. He finally did that 1,000.
I was like, dude, do you want some paper cranes, Mr. Cavill? I got a few of them. Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, cool. Luke, I can't thank you. Me and Gilman can't thank you enough for spending this time with us and spreading this world of positivity around guys, make sure you check out the Geek Of Steel. The link is in the description box. It's in the description. Click on it. Go check him out.
Everywhere.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking about bringing MySpace back, but Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I did a TikTok for a while. I still can't get my head around that. These kids today. I'm a boomer. I won't deny it. I can't be doing this TikTok twerking floss stuff.
Nah,
It's too much.
we talk. I don't do none of that, but we've got some ideas I need to share with you. But definitely,
I like. Well, guys, thanks so much. It was a pleasure. All right, and we'll talk soon.
definitely.
Awesome,
All right, take care.
Take care.
Peace.
Peace.